So let's just start by making it clear that I'm not leaving YouTube. This is a video I've been planning for years now. It just so happens that a number of YouTubers have announced that they're stepping away from the site within the last couple of months, and I don't want anyone panicking, thinking I'm doing the same. That said, there are going to be changes regarding this channel going forward, changes I wanted to talk about and sort of memorialize, if you will. But first, the usual content warning for the following: transmisia, mental health struggles, and targeted abuse. If you like our work, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon. You can also support us by liking, commenting, and sharing this video on social media. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. So if you've been following me since before 2019, you probably know just how hard the last 4 years have been for me personally. Though it's not just been hard, it's been really frustrating. It was in 2022 when I realized that I was just reacting. I was reacting to what the Secker community had done to me, I was reacting to what the dirtbags had done to me, and I was reacting to what a certain organisation had done to me. You name it, I was reacting to it. And whilst a part of me always wanted to just abandon things, to bury them and move on, I couldn't because I'd always feel like I failed myself, not to forget the other people hurt. That's why I really set myself to clearing out my backlog towards the end of 2022, something I carried out throughout the entirety of 2023. That's why so many of the videos have been about specific people rather than larger issues. This was never the intention, it's not what I wanted to do with the channel, it just grew out of necessity. It kind of felt like I was stuck in the middle of the ocean in a sinking ship. Sure, I'd love to open up the sails and get a move on, creating new and original stuff, but that's hard to do when you're bailing water and making repairs. Another thing that's probably worth noting is that the content on this channel has become a lot darker over the years. Now, a part of that is simply the shit show that is what the trans community is currently being put through, but that's not the only reason. As recently discussed in my 3-hour video regarding the long-term impact the events of 2019 had on me, there was a deep sense of guilt that followed me whenever I tried to create things with lower stakes. I felt as if I had to atone to the trans community for what I perceived to be my past failures. This has been super bad for my mental health, resulting in burnout after burnout as my work became one of unending nihilism. It reached a point where I was having to fight with myself just to get out of bed each morning. That said, I'm feeling better. The current mainline series has been really helpful to me from a mental health standpoint. It feels like by finally getting everything out there, I can move on and not feel so guilty about it. In fact, I only have 3 more videos to go, one relating to the current mainline series, one relating to Neuroclastic, and one regarding a group of rape apologists surrounding the whole Lily Orchard series we did last year. And that's it. I'm caught up. I can move on and not have to worry about possible regret, which is nice. There is an end to this very dark, very long tunnel I've been trapped in. Speaking of moving on, that brings us to this video and my plans for the channel. One thing I like to get back into are standalone videos, that is to say, videos that aren't a direct response to content put out by other people. Because whilst response videos are perfectly fine, especially how we handle them in citing all references, the problem with them is that they're kinda situational. Don't get me wrong, the arguments made can be taken apart and put back together elsewhere, it's just that by tailoring them to a specific person, you kinda limit its inherent application. One such project is a series of 3 videos about the history of transmisia in sports, as well as how it relates to intermisia, the Red Scare, and colonialism. Not gonna lie, this one does kinda feel like a cop-out in that it still relates to the events of 2019. But at the same time, it is standalone and I do cut myself off at a certain point, so maybe I should look at it as sort of a transition series. The first video covers gender in sports from the start of the 20th century up to the end of the Second World War, the second video covers the Cold War, and the third video covers the events since the Cold War ended. There's a lot of important stuff to share, a lot of our forgotten forebears, and since I've already got the information, I might as well start there. I've also got a piece sticking up for xenogenders and neopronouns almost written, just pointing out the hypocrisy of people who act like the classical genders are somehow more legitimate. The video points out that such rhetoric simply doesn't make sense when you actually stop to consider things in the historical context of how gender has been discussed by society. I've also been considering doing a piece sharing my thoughts regarding transmisandry as a term and why I find a lot of the current discourse to be disingenuous, though that one is still in the early stages of planning. Another standalone piece I'm really excited about, or rather a series, relates to abuse culture, which is rape culture's larger yet less discussed sibling. I like to take time to systematically unpack the many ways society, as currently exists, is built to disempower victims of all forms of abuse. Stuff like don't beat a dead horse, the idea of a perfect victim, and the myth of Stockholm Syndrome to give you a general idea of the topics I like to cover. Thankfully, it's easier for me to break down these topics as theory than it is in response to being personally victimized by them in the moment. So if you think that's a series that might do a lot of good, or you have any ideas of topics I should cover, please drop me a little comment sharing your thoughts. I already have a list of like 30 topics to cover, but it's possible that I've missed a really important one, so all suggestions help. So the overall point I'm trying to make here is that moving on for the last 4 years once the next few videos are done won't be the death of the channel. I still have a lot to say, stuff I've been holding back on for a couple of years, and I'm really hopeful that I'll find the strength within me to change that. Though it's not just this channel, I also plan to start making more use of my personal channel at Ethel Thurston. The 3 big videos I've already published there, my reviews of 2021's June, did really well considering it's a new channel, even accounting for the cross-promotion I did. They all got 700 views, even the 3rd one which was published half a year later. I remember the days in 2011 of struggling to get beyond 100 views, so I'm really happy with that. I've actually been reading through my old media and society textbooks from university, making detailed notes to ensure that I've absorbed everything. Once done, I plan to read Barbara Creed's The Monstrous Feminine, as well as the anthology Women Make Horror, Filmmaking, Feminism, Genre. Why? Well, because I'm planning to do reviews of monster media from a feminist perspective. This is actually something I've been wanting to do since 2017, picturing myself as a feminist alternative to the likes of James Rolfe's Cinemassacre. Sadly, I can never find the right tone or approach, leading me to abandon that idea. That was until I met Levi, and he helped me improve my writing significantly. I now feel that I might be able to do what I've been wanting to do for years, and it's all thanks to him. I've even got an investigative piece in the works regarding some really exploitative behaviour of a very prominent producer in the creature feature community, something that I'm really excited for, though I still got a lot of work to do before that's ready. Think I'll test the waters with some smaller pieces first. I also plan to do some behind the scenes style videos for the channel, the first of which I'm considering making about the research I'm doing in preparation for everything. Whether I'll actually do that and whether they'll stick around, I don't know, but as a wise raven once told me, experimentation is the order of the day. Now, if you're a patron of Essence of Thought, don't worry, you will be credited at the end of each video on my personal channel, in the same vein as you're currently credited at the end of every Essence of Thought video. Everything is still operating under one roof so far as Patreon. I just feel that these reviews are a little more personal and thus belong on my personal channel. So yeah, a lot of new stuff, things I'm actually excited about. I just wanted to share this to let you know where I'm at with everything. Again, I hope you're all doing well, and I look forward to exploring the rest of 2024 with you. With that, I'd just like to thank the following people for supporting the channel: Matthew Kovac, Gert Van Voorst, Hannah Banghart, Marble Wings, Sosh Daniels, Flynn, and Higgins the Seagull. And for myself, Adita and Levi, take care now.